So you guys may or may not know this, but I actually am a mom, and this week is really special because I get to celebrate the first birthday of my child. And this could just not be a more special occasion in my life. Like, there's really nothing that can compare. And in case you guys were wondering, the initials of my child is TOG, not Throne of Glass, but the Oreaganic podcast. Welcome back to the pod. Some people are going to be like, that was literally so gross. And some people are going to be like, ha ha hee hee. So if you hee hee ha ha, then you're my people. And if you thought that was gross, goodbye, adios. But yes, this week we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Oreaganic podcast. And I don't even really know where to go from there. I just really wanted to acknowledge it. But I think it's important to say that some reflection is required. Some reflection is mandatory. And you know what? Some reflection is warranted. After a full year of me sitting down with this microphone in my hand and talking for God knows how long every single week. I think we've had 3 guests on, I believe. I meant to have more, but this summer has been absolutely insane. And you know what? Life is just, life's lifing. Life is lifing. In honor of this magnanimous occasion, you guys are getting a full solo episode with my top reflections and lessons from the past year. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, you guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm honestly excited to record this today because I feel like there's a lot I gotta say. When I think back to the reason why I wanted to share this podcast in the first place, I always knew that I wanted to share my voice on a larger platform, but I didn't know how that was going to look. And originally it started as YouTube. And then I was talking every week on YouTube the same way I do on this podcast. And I was like, why? Like, the goal was always kind of to go towards the podcast route. And now we're here. But the first honest reflection that I will give you guys is that, like, I have not set this show up for, like, massive growth. Like, I haven't really gone crazy with anything like, I don't know, SEO, search metrics, like having a bunch of guests on, promoting it like crazy on my Instagram, like doing all the things. I have kind of really just let it exist and flow. Not to say that, of course, I probably could have put more, I don't know. No, I'm not even going to say that. I was going to say, I could have put more effort into having it be a bigger presence, but like that implies that I was like not doing enough, and that's never how I want to describe like just the authentic way that I feel called to share. And I think there's definitely going to be parts of life where you want to be more seen and vocal and expressive, and then there's going to be seasons of life where you are way more like in a hermit crab mode, but you still have things to say, so you still want to share them. Honestly, I feel like I've been like that for the past maybe I don't even know, guys. Honestly, the past year that I have shared on this podcast, I feel like part of me has just been in this like reserve phase where, I mean, it's also like a nervous system limit too. Like the thought of expanding the podcast or like actually getting like hundreds of thousands of like listens and downloads and whatever. I mean, even just the fact that I have listeners literally across the world. Like, I have people who have listened in, I believe, every continent. I think so. I'm literally looking right now. I'm like 90% sure. Every continent is accounted for except except for Antarctica. Believe it or not, we don't have any listeners there. But like, I have downloads from every single major continent. that's literally insane. That's kind of crazy. And what's also crazy and kind of scary for me a little bit is just the fact that, like, I don't know who's listening to this. Like, I just put this out into the world. People hear it. I can see where people listen from. I can see how many downloads it got, but I don't know how many people are really listening, like who they are, what about them, like how'd they find the episode, like if this is literally their first impression of me, just hearing me talk and I'm just a complete stranger. Like, I literally have no clue, just like every other podcast host, but like I have no clue. And that's pretty crazy. It's also kind of scary because I'm someone who kind of thinks a lot, and I'm like, well, that's pretty wild. Like, that's a lot of exposure. Those are a lot of, like, I'm a stranger to all of these people. I don't know them. They don't know me. I'm sharing parts of my truth or my brain or whatever. Like, that concept in and of itself is something that's just, it's not weird, but it's like kind of weird. I'm like, whoa, I don't know. It's just, it's strange. It's strange to me. And another thing that I feel kind of weird about with the podcast is that, like, I don't go telling people about it. Like, the fact that I have a podcast to people, especially like coworkers, obviously, but, you know, people in my life who I talk to on a daily basis, like, sure, the people who follow my Instagram know that I have a podcast, but it's not like this central theme and something that's just like a wide known thing. Like, I don't even talk about the podcast with my boyfriend. Like, I don't talk about it with my parents. I don't talk about it with any of the people who are like probably the closest to me. And that is kind of a weird experience because it's almost, I almost feel like it's this sheltered off thing, but I'm not trying to make it that, but it's just, it's so weird. It's so strange. I'm sure that one of you guys can relate to the concept of, like, it's so funny when you decide to be more expressive or outspoken or post on socials or do whatever, like start something that's more public facing per se, and you can feel like you are so outspoken, expressive, like called to share things in that front, like on to literally just the general public, to anyone on social media or podcasting, whatever. But then when it comes to your personal life and the people closest to you, yeah, you're still yourself, but it's like, it's just different. It's so different. And I'm not saying anything about the people in my personal life, like the people closest to me, but this is actually reminding me of part of the Bible. I don't even know which book it's in. I have a whole episode on religion, spirituality, like intuition, ego, fear, love. I have a whole episode on that in case you're curious about diving deeper into, like, I don't know, finding middle ground and a balance between certain things about religion and also just the wider, broad spiritual perspective. But anyways, there is a verse in the Bible I know where it's something along the lines of, like, the people who are, like, in Jesus's village, like the people closest to him, like did not believe in the miracles that he created, and like they were the only people who he could not heal. And like, I don't know, I just feel like that's such a crazy thing to read in the Bible, because I feel like that experience is something that a lot of people have when they're trying to create something. And I'm not saying that I'm Jesus, by the way, just in case you're wondering, but I'm saying that so many people who are creative, expressive, want to be seen on a wider scale or feel like they have something important to say, they also probably kind of feel the same way as me sometimes, or it's like the people closest to you just don't get it. And they're not always really meant to. Like, I don't think that the people closest to you, when you are creating something like that, need to be completely 100% hands-on, all in, yes, go, slay, I understand everything that you're doing. Like, there's meant to be a level of separation. It's almost like difference between personal life and professional life when you decide to go creating something bigger like that. But it's also so intertwined with you personally, because you literally are like the niche of what you are sharing. So I just feel like a lot of people could relate to that paradox where you want to share, you want to grow, but You're also not going around to everyone like closest to you saying, hey, follow my Instagram, repost my stories, like, or repost my Instagram posts and my reels, and like my stories, drive my engagement, push the mission. I think that you absolutely should expect support from the people closest to you, but they may not be able to give you a level of understanding that you might be able to get from the people who actually deeply resonate with the mission and the purpose that you are sharing with the world. It's kind of a really weird paradox, and I've had that experience reflected back to me with the podcast. It's just been very, very interesting to navigate, and I think it's reflective of themes that I think I'm going to work through for the rest of my life, just in spiral fashion, as all things are, where it's like every time something comes up, it's just a deeper layer and a deeper layer and a deeper layer. And I think that this sort of fear around visibility, or fear around claiming that role of being a teacher, a leader, a wise woman, like someone who's sharing, someone who's creating, who's passionate, who's, I don't know, almost like an entrepreneurial mindset, like, to carry that energy requires you to go through so many iterations of reflections of yourself, introspection, going through, just charging through all of these different barriers inside your mind that you didn't even know were there in the first place, that just come from other people, other societal expectations, just all of this fucking trauma, basically. All this shit that we've just inherited from our childhood, our beliefs, our conditioning that then shape how we see the world, and it applies to how much we think we can actually have an impact. Like, what feels safe for you? For me, like with the podcast, I can definitely tell that I'm reaching edges of my nervous system, because as I mentioned at the start of this little tangent, the thought of having like tens of hundreds of thousands of downloads on this podcast is something that is scary. It doesn't really feel normal whatsoever. It doesn't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel like something that I have right now. So obviously it naturally triggers discomfort, because it's literally outside of my comfort zone. Now, is that to say that I don't want to have a bigger impact? I don't think that what I'm saying is important. No, I know that meant to have a bigger impact. What I say is important. This is all here. I'm creating this all for a reason. But it is to say that, like, it just really reflects how much work you have to put into yourself and your nervous system, and building your capacity to be able to actually expand into greater levels of impact, of happiness, of abundance, of wealth, of love even, because we are just so wired to only tolerate what we are used to. And a lot of us are used to tolerating either survival mode / the bare minimum, or always being in fear of something being taken away from us. So always being, again, in this like survival mode and hypervigilance. And conditioning out of that is something that, I don't know, I think I'm just really reflecting on that right now. Like, I'm still definitely in a place where that needs a lot of work. But I think that this is just the start. I mean, I started posting, I started the podcast because, no, I don't feel like I was fully ready. I don't think anyone's ever fully ready. And I still don't, I don't think I'm perfect by any means. There's a fuck ton of work to do still, like a shit ton. But nevertheless, just because there's a lot to work on doesn't mean that I should wait to start. Like, if I did not start 2 years ago and it was right now, I still would be behind. And I say 2 years ago from when I started on YouTube. The podcast, obviously, a year later. So now we're at basically 2 cumulative years of me sharing my thoughts and my personality online, which is crazy. But again, if I did not start then, and I decided to start now, that's 2 years of experience that I have needed. That's 2 years of confidence, of building a rhythm and a routine and a pattern and a habit where I truly don't give a fuck posting things on my Instagram story. I don't care what people think of me if they see that I have a podcast. I don't fucking care. I don't. I really don't. And that's another lesson that I've learned, I guess solidified in with the podcast, is that It's at least when it comes to people who don't really know me. Like, I really deeply care about what the people closest to me think, like very deeply, but for better or for worse. But I don't care what some random ass person who does not actually know me has to say about my podcast or my brand. Perfect example. I had some fuck ass NPC comment on a YouTube video that I made, separate like vlog style, but a YouTube video I made. It said something like, "You're not her." Oh my fucking god, get over yourself. Like, sometimes I think people comment just to rage bait, not just to me, to like just in general, so I'm trying to be aware of that. But literally though, my first thought when I see that comment is like, wow, that person must be absolutely miserable. Like, the things that people say about you are simply reflections of how they see themselves. So if someone is looking at a YouTube video of someone sharing themselves, talking, whatever, just like having fun, and they say like, "Oh my god, ew, you're not her," do you know what that's telling me? That's like actually kind of sad and embarrassing for that person, because that's saying like, wow, I think so low of myself that even someone else having a lick of confidence to share themselves like this makes me so insecure that I need to defend myself and attack. Loser. Someone's in a basement. Oh, who's in the basement? Not me. Like, these people are just fucking weird. Anyways, to go back to the point that I'm making, building this podcast and this brand and growing and sharing, even though it's been, holding myself back a little bit. Yeah, I will say that. And not being fully whatever for miscellaneous reasons I will not get into of my personal life. But just feeling like the desensitization from what people care about me or what people think about me, it's been great. It's been absolutely immaculate. Like, that's a strength that I think I've continued to build. And if there's anything to take from this, take this as a sign that, like, if you want to start literally anything, the best time to start was yesterday. Like, start now, because the sooner you start, the sooner you're going to get to a point where you have more experience, where you actually can build on the foundation to create more impact or do bigger things than what you are able to do if you keep continuously waiting to start. Like, the time is just going to keep passing. The time is going to keep going. We're on a fixed linear schedule when it comes to time. Like, there's no going back, quite literally, here in this 3D world. There is no going back. So if you want to start something, if you want to start a project, literally anything, I am telling you to start now. I don't care if it's the smallest, stupidest little thing. Technically, my whole posting on social media journey started with posting a literal picture of a fucking bacon, egg, and cheese on my public Snapchat story. Wow. What a freaking shiny, marvelous start to your social media journey. Like, this was not fucking anything crazy. And I distinctly remember this moment, and I feel like it's for a reason, because it's so random, but I remember the moment that I posted that, and I was like, wow, that is genuinely like the first post that I ever made. And guess what? It felt like absolutely nothing. Big fucking whoop-de-doo. I posted one picture on my public Snapchat, but guess what? It was the first thing I ever did that was public facing on social media in a way that I have never shared before. And that led to me sharing more yapping videos, me sharing my experience switching career fields, finding a new job, finding a way more aligned way of living, like just all the things, and then coming into more of a desire to express the things that I have learned about and experienced when it comes to mindset, stress, like getting out of bad habits and old routines, figuring out how to stop caring about what other people think, like so many things that are centered around personal freedom, empowerment, and being more authentic to who you truly are. Like, that is the era that started me sharing on YouTube, which again turned into this podcast. And yeah, I can sit here right now and tell you guys honestly, like, sometimes this doesn't really feel like I'm doing anything. Like, sometimes I just don't like, is this doing anything? Like, does this really help people? Is this really doing a singular thing for anyone? Like, or is everyone who's seeing this just being like, that's something I don't fucking care about? Like, those are thoughts that genuinely run through my head. But I know how this silly little world works. Like, everything that I put out there, even if it gets one fucking download across 5 centuries. Guess what? That could be someone who was completely meant to hear what I had to say, what was channeled through me, what God wanted to share through me, and they needed to hear that message, and it could have completely changed the trajectory of their day. It could have inspired them to look into a whole new different avenue of study, of understanding the nervous system, the subconscious mind. It could have opened a door to pathways for their life that they would not have had opened as quickly had they not listened to that one episode. I have no idea if that's truly the case or not, but I know from personal experience with podcasts I've listened to, like, that's usually the case when it comes to very faded things like that. There's always a reason. There's always a reason for people to be listening to what you have to share. There's always a reason that you find the exact people who you're meant to hear from. I've had thoughts before about sharing, more mindset work, or people who become mindset coaches, or even me having the thought of like, well, maybe I could share and expand on something that can help people in any sort of like coaching, mentorship kind of capacity. Like, I think I definitely am a skilled leader. Like, I know that for a fact. Like, leadership is one of my number one traits that I'm 100% the strongest in. Like, I'm a skilled leader. I can talk through things. I'm really good at balancing two different opposite polarities and perspectives. Like, I'm good at finding middle ground. I'm good at seeing solutions for people. I'm very empathetic. Like, there's a lot of things that I think can create a very beneficial environment for me to be most helpful for the collective beyond just sharing my voice. But even when I think about that, sometimes I remember having the thought of like, there's so many people who already talk about mindset, who already talk about somatic healing, energetics, understanding the balance between religion, spirituality. Like, there's people who already talk about this stuff. People who talk about how science and spirituality are very intertwined, reflected. Like, point being, there are people who already talk about all of the shit that I just said that I can help people with. So if that's the case, and there's so many people saying the same things, like, what's the point of me just adding on to being another person saying that stuff? But then I actually had the realization, the download, one might say, of the fact that, like, yes, you can have people teaching the same information, and that doesn't change the fact that people need to hear it. Like, more people need to hear and know about their mindset, their subconscious, somatic therapy, like healing themselves from the inside out, like going to the root cause of why they feel stuck, why they feel whatever. Like, there's so much people need to know more of that we have like a severe lack of teaching about when it comes to like at least public school or even private schools. Like, nervous system, understanding your mindset, figuring out how to actually like create and cultivate your own life rather than just being a constant person who's just responding to it at all times. Like, that's something we're not taught, and there's so many layers of depth to that. So first off, a lot of people need to hear probably the things that you want to share. Like, a lot of people need to hear it. So just because there are a lot of other mentors, coaches, teachers, whatever, doesn't mean that you can't be one, that you're also not needed. And the most important thing that I realized is that there can be 100 people saying the same exact thing in different ways. But what's important for people who feel called to share something that's already they feel is oversaturated is that you could be the person who shares that information in the exact way that someone else resonates with it the most. Like, you are the divine kind of channel for all of this information that needs to go to the very specific group of people who are meant to hear it from you. Just because it's the same information as what fucking Joe Schmo is saying over there does not mean that you are any less valuable just because you are another person and another number who is sharing the same stuff. Because you're not just another number, you're not just a random person, you are a literal channel for the divine to speak through you to get to the people who need to hear it the most. Like, you are the translator for these people. It is literally like, imagine a giant room filled with people who speak a bunch of different languages, and you need to tell them a message. Let's say that let's say that you speak Spanish. I'm sorry, it's the language that I took in high school. Don't fucking judge me for saying that. But let's say you speak Spanish, And everyone else in this room, all of these people who are like meant to be teachers for everyone else, they all speak a different language. And all the people in the audience also speak a different language. But like, there's groups of people who speak Spanish. There's groups of people who speak English. There's groups of people who speak French. You get where I'm going here. You are the teacher who speaks Spanish. You are trying to translate this message, the same message that everyone else is saying, just in different languages to this whole populace. You are meant to speak Spanish to them. If you do not get up on the pedestal and start speaking your message in Spanish, the people who know and understand Spanish will never get to hear the fucking message. Because they're going to look around, they're going to say, I don't know what the fuck anyone else is saying. And guess what? The message is not going to fucking resonate with them. Like, you need to share your authentic voice and self. If you are someone who feels called to do that, you fucking need to do that. You need to do that. I don't care how oversaturated the market is. I don't fucking care how many other people have done the thing that you want to do. I don't fucking care. You are a translator for someone who needs to fucking hear your voice or your music or whatever it is that you want to create. You are the translator. You need to fucking talk and you need to speak and you need to get this message out into the world right now. Right now, dude. I literally feel like that was the Holy Spirit that just channeled through me. And I've had that experience before. And I guess I'm saying Holy Spirit because I feel like people who are religious get really worked up about that when you don't say the Holy Spirit. But to me, as someone who grew up religious, and I'd still say, like, yeah, sure, I teeter on, like, I'll say, like, I'm not gonna not say that I'm religious. You know what I mean? But, like, I have a way broader perspective than what religion can just offer me, I guess. And absolutely no shade to being a Christian, because I think you can still be a Christian and not be extremely, like, I'm religious. Like, I think they could be two separate things. To be a Christian, to me, is just to be a follower of Christ. To be, like, Christian as in religion, I think some people take this, obviously there's a spectrum, but the people who take it to the more, I don't want to say extreme, the more by the book, there you go. The people who are more by the book when it comes to religion can say things like, well, unless you call explicitly on the Holy Spirit, then how do you know that it's actually not a demon? Or, yeah, okay, well, it's all coming from within you, so you just think that you are God, like, blah, 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 blah. And it's just, these are things where I'm like, this is a way deeper conversation than, like, what I can provide to you with just a 2-minute synopsis, if that. So I'm just going to leave it there. But whatever. If you want my full understanding of the world, we are all equals. We are all not equals. Well, we are all equals, but we are all one. Like, we are all connected to each other, and we are just fragments of God experiencing ourselves as individuals. Like, for literally everyone. Like, no matter what you think, we are all a part of God. We've never been separate from God, and God is simply the creator of all things. God, I believe, as with everything else in nature, has a feminine and a masculine energy to it. Like, that is literally just an observed law of the universe, that everything has gender to it. And if anything, too, do you know which polarity is the only one to ever actually create life? Like, to be the birth of life? Like, that is the feminine. That is the feminine, believe it or not. Nothing in creation was made without the feminine. Anyways, won't get into it more, but that is to say that that was 100% channeled through me, so someone needed to fucking hear that. Like, really bad. Really bad. Seriously, though, guys, we are all just translators. Like, all of us who are called to, especially all of us who are called to create something, to bring something to life like this, even if you think that it means nothing, that it's not doing anything, that you're not making this huge, big impact, or the market's oversaturated, you're doing something, and you are resonating with the people who speak your language. So you just need to share more of that with the world, because the ripple effect that moves on from that is absolutely just freaking, it's massive. It's huge. And that kind of positivity and spreading and just amplification of, like, our best, highest, most authentic, organic selves right now, like, that is what the world needs. Like, Jesus, that is what we need. Oh my goodness, that is what we need on this planet right now if we are going to go about healing and reversing the fucking insane, like, horrific shit that has taken place on... I don't even need to get into it. Like, we need to do some work. We need to put in the work. Clock in, guys. Hashtag light workers, clock in. That might be too spiritual for some of you guys, but I don't really give a shit. Wow. I feel like I need to come down from that. That was a lot. Whew. Goodness, guys. 30 minutes later. Holy crap. I think I'm going to make this into a 2-part series and end this week here. So main takeaways from this, besides my lessons, are that if you feel called to share anything or create something, do something, start right now. And if you ever have doubts about whether or not, like, the market's too saturated, there's already people who do this, you are speaking your own sacred language, and that language is only going to resonate with people who also understand it, but they will never be able to hear the message and the medicine that you are meant to bring to the world unless you share it. So, point of the story, go speak Spanish. I'm kidding, but I hope you guys are having a splendid day, whatever time of day it is for you. Thank you for tuning in for a whole freaking year, guys. If you've been here since the beginning, a whole year. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so honored to have you, and I hope that you can explore the now 55 episode directory of just everything there is to share, everything there is to see on, I guess, neither of the above, everything there is to listen to on the Oreaganic podcast. So, without further ado, go have a beautiful rest of your day. Go be your most organic selves. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.